maybe I'll do it as a soundbite. How about that? You just said that you are optimistic in light of the world and the situation that it's in, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And that made me think about a
Yes.
conversation I had with my friend Rob recently, where I'm like, Rob, do you not realize that today's darkness was yesterday's light, right? So,
Hmm.
do you know what I'm saying? But like, that's the process of evolution. So, what seems the only reason it seems dark now is because there's a greater light.
Yes. There's a cycle coming.
Right. I learned this from systems theory because in systems theory, it basically says today's problems were yesterday's solutions. So think about the 80s, the invention of plastic. Amazing. Everyone went mental. Oh, it's a miracle substance. Now, what's the
I
problem
remember
in
that.
today's
Yeah.
world? Plastic bottles, everything's
Plastic.
plastic. It's the world's biggest problem. It used to be the world's
Yeah.
greatest darling. Now it's the world's biggest problem. Right? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's nothing wrong with that though, because that's how society evolves. We don't know that what we're creating is going to be a problem, but that's the way it is though. The next generation then go, okay, the last generation left us with a problem. We've got to sort it out, right? And that's fine because then they use their minds, their creativity, all the rest of it, and evolve the technology, evolve society, evolve materials. It's fine. It's not like we should never have invented plastic. That's a necessary step in the evolution of humanity.
For sure, for sure. And it's an interesting point because like Dan and I have speculated a lot about the technology that we're building and that people are building on Web3 and how it's going to affect things. And, I guess there's a bias to go towards the positives because we're the people building it. But we've also tried to think a little bit about, potential negatives that can happen from this. And I mean, it's not something we really necessarily need to touch on now, but it's like, it's a continuous philosophical speculative thing that we need
Yep.
to keep thinking about to try and get ahead of it in case it does go bad. Because of course with new technology you never really know, but one thing I know for sure is that it's going to disrupt things, and hope a lot of the signs of the things that we've looked at point to it disrupting things for the better, at least for the medium term. I don't know what it's going to be like long term. Hopefully there won't be like blockchain nodes floating around the water and people complaining about that later on in the century. But,
Right. Right.
yeah, like it's an interesting topic. I mean, we should probably do a whole separate segment on it, I guess.
Well, what I will say though is the bad guys, by the time the bad guys have co-opted the system, it's when that system is at its end, right?
Yeah,
Because at
yeah.
that point, think about yin and yang. That's when the darkness is, arching over the top. But at that point, the white bit is also beginning, and that's like the old financial system has become totally corrupt. It's done. But right alongside that is the emerging new generation of Web3 and the solution to that problem, and that'll get co-opted, and we'll do it all over again, right?
That sounds very much like you have quite a nice philosophical way at looking at the world that a lot of people may be lacking at the moment,
It's the way
I
it
think.
works. It's the way it's always worked.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's a
mean,
great
good
point.
for
You
you.
gotta
I
have
love.
you
Yeah.
gotta have the balance, and there's always going to be that counterpoint to make the movie entertaining. And it's not like darkness just reigns forever. There's always a counterpoint to that. And yeah, just as you said it very well. We're getting to that point where it's total domination of corruption, and now we're starting to see that little balance, the counterbalance, right, to make it interesting, which is the Web3 technology we have. So it's
And
very
our
cool.
job is crucial because I feel for, my heart breaks for people that don't have any awareness about the next cycle, the light that's contrasting the dark.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
yeah.
Imagine that if you'd never, like, because I
Oh,
studied the world economic system and I was close to despair. The only thing that was going to save us was gold, right? And then I
right,
discovered
right.
Bitcoin, and then I was like, oh, thank God, right? Because I was about to commit suicide at that point.
Yeah, I've said it many times. I honestly don't know what I would be doing today. God, I'm not even going to mention what it could be on air, but
Right,
what I'd be doing today if I didn't have this technology to focus on.
exactly.
And I think that the beauty of this is there's so many people all over the world that are finding out about this. And like you say, there's a lot of people that aren't, and they must be in real dark places. And
Mm.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a war breakout already or something terrible happening. But the great thing, the thing that drives me really is that I know as long as we stick to the decentralized principles, we don't give ourselves pre-mines, we don't give ourselves pre-seeds, we don't let VCs in, we let community funding do its job. We try to stay decentralized as possible. We build it open source and give it away for free. We will stick to these fundamental principles of decentralization so that whatever it is, whatever this system becomes, it will be controlled by the community as much as possible. far more than most of the so-called decentralized ecosystems out there today. And then it's a case of shouting from the hilltops that we have an alternative option for people. We're not going to need any guns. We're not going to need any revolutions. We're just going to be able to say, look, you can work in this, World Economic Forum system of ever inflating money that has, I can see it having like a spend by date eventually, or you can come over here where your money's yours and you can say whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you want, and people will just hopefully there'll be like a natural gravitation across.